What's up, everybody? My name is Toxic31, and I'm going to review the latest Warbond in Helldivers 2 today, the Force of Law Warbond. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. First, we have a look at the new armor sets in this Warbond. They come in a medium and light version and have a completely new armor passive, Ballistic Padding. It provides a 25% resistance to explosive damage, a 25% resistance to chest damage, and prevents your Helldiver from bleeding from his chest. The armor sets look quite cool, and the armor passive is also nothing to sneeze at. The heavy armor version is available for purchase in the Superstore. Now, we're gonna have a look at the only primary weapon of this Warbond, the AR-32 Pacifier. It is a medium armor-penetrating assault rifle, dealing only 50 damage with its stun rounds. It has a capacity of 40, a recoil of 10, and a fire rate of 700 RPM. A lot of people are down on this weapon because of its low damage and compare it to the Liberator Concussive or the Liberator Penetrator. But because of its higher fire rate, the Pacifier actually deals more damage than the Liberator Concussive and just a little bit less than the Liberator Penetrator. The Pacifier can also be upgraded, but sadly the magazine of the weapon cannot be changed. The Pacifier has 3 different firing modes: burst fire, semi-automatic, and of course fully automatic. The ergonomics of the weapon feel quite responsive and quick, and the recoil can easily be controlled, so you can hit targets even on greater distances. I tested the gun against all 3 factions, and it didn't take long for me to run into problems. Now, I actually don't mind the lower damage on this AR, because the ergonomics and the fire rate feel very good. It just feels nice to use. But what does bother me is the stun effect of this weapon. You don't stun an enemy with a single shot, the stun effect builds up over every hit that you make. This means, by the time an enemy is finally stunned, you only need a few more bullets to finish him off. And what makes this even worse is the incredibly short duration of the stun. You cannot stun multiple targets at once, because by the time you stun a second enemy, the first one is already chasing you again, making the stun simply useless. Now, you can stun even bigger enemies, like a charger, but watch how short the duration of the stun really is. By the time I reload the gun, the charger is already moving again. And the low damage of this weapon means it will take a very long time and a lot of your ammo to take out bigger enemies. I sped up the video here just to show how long it actually takes to take out a charger. So while the gun feels nice to use and has some potential, it is not a good choice against the Terminants right now. When you face off against the automatons, the problems are the same. Now, I did think the weapon felt a little better here. The medium armor penetration does come in very handy, but once again, by the time an enemy is stunned, he is almost dead anyways, and the stun only lasts for such a short moment that it's extremely difficult to line up accurate headshots. As you can see in the footage, I tried to stun this Devastator, but he keeps moving his head up and down, making it simply impossible for me to land a headshot. Sadly, the weapon didn't feel much better against the Illuminate. While it is possible to stun Overseers and take them out with a few headshots, the stun effect once again is way too short. And because of its low damage and small magazine, the pacifier is also not a great choice against the hordes of voteless chasing you. You will need 2 or 3 shots to their chest to take them out, so it is best to either aim for their heads or their knees, forcing you to be very accurate. Next up is the GL-52 De-Escalator, a grenade launcher that fires arc grenades. And while the description says medium armor penetration, the arc actually also penetrates heavy units, making it possible to deal damage and even take out larger and heavy armored enemies. The De-Escalator has 6 rounds in the magazine, which have to be reloaded one by one, giving it one of the longest reload times in the entire game. This grenade launcher also comes with 2 different firing modes, semi-automatic and fully automatic. I was really excited when I first saw this new grenade launcher, but sadly it is not as good as I was hoping for. Now, the arc grenades actually do a lot of damage, and you can hit multiple targets at once, but once again, the duration of the stun is so short that it's basically not worth to try and stun enemies. It's simply easier and faster to just flat out kill them, even though you can stun enemies and hit them with an orbital. And if you want a deadly grenade launcher, you can simply play the normal grenade launcher. Now, the De-Escalator did feel a little bit better against the automatons, because their units don't spread out as much as the bugs or the Illuminate, and you interrupt their firing animation when you stagger them, so it's easier to hit multiple enemies at once without getting hit yourself. But once again, if you want to play a grenade launcher to kill your enemies, the normal grenade launcher is the better option here. And just like it was with the bugs, if the small enemies of the Illuminate come too close to you, the weapon becomes very dangerous for yourself and for your teammates. And even the tanky flash mobs don't really get stunned and will run at you at least once. The De-Escalator also comes with some risks. If you hit an enemy from an angle, the grenade can simply bounce off and it won't affect the enemy at all. And of course, if you get too close, the arc will jump from the enemy right back at you. The arc doesn't discriminate. Next up is the Guard Dog K9, an autonomous drone equipped with a modified arc thrower. And this is important to know, because once again, the description says only medium armor penetration. But the K9 actually has an armor penetration level of 7, meaning it can literally damage every enemy in the game, just like the regular arc thrower. I tested the K9 of course against all 3 factions again, and I have to say that the K9 is probably my least favorite item in this Warbond, except for the booster, but more on that one in a second. The K9 has multiple issues. The fire rate is extremely slow. So slow in fact that it won't even kill a single enemy fast enough or just stun the enemy long enough to prevent that enemy from calling in reinforcements. The targeting of this rover is also extremely inconsistent. Sometimes the K9 will simply hover around you, not shooting at any enemies. Sometimes it fires randomly and decides to target enemies further away than the ones that are close to you, causing patrols or other enemies to join the fight or call in reinforcements. And of course, the K9 doesn't discriminate between targets, meaning yourself or your teammates. I guess I enjoyed the K9 the most against the automatons, simply because there are not as many small Jeff enemies that keep running at you, but even here I would rather bring any other guard dog. And while the K9 can damage heavy enemies, the fact that it always aims for center mass and not for headshots makes it almost useless against heavy units. Just watch how long I keep running around this Hulk, hoping the K9 would take him out eventually. Against the Illuminate, the K9 runs into the same problems. The inconsistent targeting combined with the very slow fire rate means the K9 can take a very long time just to take out a few of the smaller enemies, where other guard dogs, such as my personal favorite, the guard dog Dog Breath, would deal with these groups much quicker. And often, the K9 can't even take out these enemies with one single hit. Meaning, even if they keep chasing you and even if your guard dog keeps shooting at you, it will take an even longer time. Next up is the G109 Urchin Grenade. It's a sticky grenade just like the Thermite, but it functions much more like the G23 Stun Grenade. The Urchin can be placed on the ground or on objects. The grenade will then send out stun pulses for a pretty long time, stunning all enemies that are caught by a pulse and that are not immune to stun. But the affected area is very small, so closing down choke points can be a bit tricky, but it can still work surprisingly well when a group of enemies is chasing you. Where this grenade works the best, though, is against heavy single targets, such as chargers, hulks, or even flash mobs. The Urchin will completely immobilize these enemies for a very long time, giving you a chance to easily take out their weak spots. Just the flash mobs will once again take one run at you before being stunned, but they don't really chase after you. Next up is the new booster, the stun pods, and these are sadly nothing more than a troll booster, very similar to the already existing fire pods. Once you call in a hell pod for ammunition, a support weapon or a fellow Helldiver, the stun pods will not only ragdoll you, but also slow you for a very long time, making this one of the worst boosters in the entire game. And the last item on our list is the Warrant, a secondary weapon that is not part of the actual Warbond, but was released with it and can be purchased for 300 super credits in the Superstore. The Warrant is a very unique sidearm, It fires bursts of guided bullets with a medium armor penetration once it locks onto a target. It deals 80 damage, has a capacity of 13, recoil of 31, and a fire rate of 450. And on paper, it looks very similar to the P113 Verdict, with the Warrant having a slightly bigger magazine, while the Verdict deals a lot more damage. But what makes the Warrant special is not the damage, but its guiding system. If set to guided, the weapon has to be aimed and locked on to a target to be fired. But the guided mode can be turned off at any moment, turning the Warrant into a normal pistol. The Warrant was okay against the bugs and the bots, but the gun can struggle with fast-moving targets, and the weapon always aims for center mass, which means you will body shoot most of the enemies, making it ineffective against the automatons, because you won't hit their weak spots. So using the guided mode was often not the best choice against these factions, which kind of defeated the whole point of this weapon, as hitting enemies that get very close to you was easier using the non-guided mode, and there are simply stronger secondaries in the game for that. The bullets of the Warrant do seem to over-penetrate though. I don't know if this is intended or not, as many of the items seem to be bugged in one way or the other, but at the moment the Warrant can take out chargers, even from the front. Note the red cross hit marker, indicating the weapon is doing its full damage. But where the Warrant really shines, in my opinion, is against the Illuminate. It is very easy to target flying overseers, and even if some bullets miss while they fly around, you can still take them out very effectively. And even switching between targets is very easy and fast. And taking out Watchers before they call in any reinforcements has never been easier. So, what do I think about the Force of Law Warbond? Sadly, a lot of the items, especially stun-related items, seem to be bugged at the moment and either do more damage in teams than in solo, or simply do not work as intended. And while all of the items have a ton of potential in my opinion, especially for a support-oriented playstyle, the current state of the Warbond is sadly not very good, and I hope Arrowhead will fix at least some of the issues these items have rather soon than later. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.